Do you think that you have ever made a decision that has completely changed someone else's life? The only thing that I could think of for myself was like if I decided to take or not take a job. That decision could completely change somebody else's life who I've probably never even met.
I think it's all, what's that movie from the 90s? I think it's all butterfly effect stuff, though.
Mmm.
Let me start this way. Have you ever had one of those instances where, you know, if it was a minute before or a minute later, you would have been the person in the car accident? Or, were you supposed to get on that plane that crashed, but you overslept?
Oh, I think about stuff like that all the time. And I think it can be the simplest thing in the world. Like, I decide to go to the grocery store at 2 o'clock instead of 2:15. And because I go at 2 o'clock, I walk across the crosswalk and a car has to stop. And because of that, they're slightly late and miss something or something happens to them. Like the smallest changes that somebody else makes can have a huge effect on you and you would never even know it.
I would argue to say that you probably changed someone's life inadvertently, probably every day. You just don't know it.
That's why I don't understand people who think that luck isn't probably the biggest single factor in where you are in life.
I mean, I think people don't want to associate luck with where they are in life, if that makes sense. I feel like when you hear the word luck, you think that, I don't know, you just walked into a pile of money or something. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like the little things.
Yeah, that's why I can never understand people who, when they're asked about success, like any of these kind of self-help interview things or whatever, when they get asked, like, how did you achieve your success? The first answer should always be luck. And if the first answer isn't luck, that person has no idea what they're really talking about.
I will say what has always fascinated me, and I kind of touched on it briefly a few minutes ago, are the stories of people who would have been involved in tragedies who, for whatever reason, don't, like I said, don't make the flight, don't get on the ship. Like, I find those people to be more life-defining than maybe some of the events themselves.
I think the famous one is like there's an actor who I don't really like. I know exactly who it is, but like they were supposed to be on one of the planes involved in 9/11.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like there's multiple people, but you said you don't like the actor, so I'm assuming you're not going to say their name.
No, I'm not. So let's just move on. Oh, and my other question is the other big question.
Lawsuits.
The other big question that I had is, what do you prefer more, sour cream or guacamole?
Oh, easy. Oh, ooh. On its own or like with something?
Oh, good question. Well, guacamole would be my number one on its own because I would never just eat sour cream.
I mean, somebody on this podcast may have done it once or twice.
You just eat sour cream by itself?
Once or twice, not large amounts.
What do you mean? Like you just like, you know what I'm gonna have? Like a couple of spoonfuls of sour cream by itself.
Well, like sour cream goes good with like cucumbers or carrots, and you'll have some leftover, and you just eat it. I don't know.
But how many spoonfuls are you just eating by itself?
I mean, less than 2 probably, but it's still solo sour cream eating.
Yeah, no, that's gross. You got
fair.
A problem. That's just like eating mayonnaise by itself, or just eating ketchup or mustard. Do you do that?
I mean, if there's enough left over, sure, I'll lather it up.
No, is the only thing that I have to say to you about that.
Mayonnaise, not so much. Not a big mayo fan unless it's on something.
There's not a single condiment that I would eat by itself. Okay, let me ask you it this way.
I would for sure.
Are there any condiments that you would eat just by themselves? Like you would just eat that condiment by itself?
Yeah, mustard.
You would just have like a spoonful of mustard. Oh, no way, dude.
I not only would I have regular mustard, but then I'd have like horseradish mustard and spicy brown mustard, and spicy mustard. Like,
that sounds absolutely disgusting to me. To eat any kind of condiment just by itself, like just a scoop of sour cream or a scoop of mayonnaise or ketchup. Like, oh, no.
So I'll also say probably an unpopular choice to eat by itself, but I absolutely love it, is wasabi.
Oh, for some reason, I feel like that might be more common than my reaction would say it is. I feel like that's the only one I could, for some reason, give you a little bit.
Out of all the spicy stuff I've had in my entire life, and I've had tons of spice, wasabi still gets me to a place that no other spice can get me.
Wow. Okay.
Anyways.
Making it sexual.
I've never I've not every time I have wasabi, I don't. It's like an experience all unto itself. It's incredible.
Wow. Maybe I'll have to try this out. I guess I've been missing out a little bit.
Well, thinking back on it, it does sound kind of sexual, but it isn't. I swear. I swear.
Yeah, you made that awkward. Okay. All right.
That would be. Was it? I don't know if it was awkward.
It's awkward for me.
Well, that's what I'm here for. Anyways, all right. Let's give some shout outs here for the past week, which the week felt like it took forever, but here we are. We'll start off with Martin Kamchek, Katie Chernoff, Sandy Garcia, Martin Brolowski. Isn't Brolowski like one of the South Park kids' last names?
I don't know.
Brolowski.
It's something close to that, so I kind of know what you're talking about, but not really.
You weren't a South Park guy, were you?
No, I think that show's really good. I'm always really impressed. Like, I think that they do social commentary better than almost anybody that I've ever seen, but I'm not a fan of it. I don't watch it. I don't really watch any shows, to be honest with you.
All right, let's see here. Nadine Kelly.
Nadine.
Cayman Doyle. Jacob Hoffman. Elian Baruga. Muhammad McCabe. Justine Isabella. Casey Gajewski. And Jack Shanahan.
Nice. Way to go, dude.
Good,
way to go. Proud of you for that. Proud of you for that.
Keep checking our stuff out. I don't know what else to say. I don't know if I've ever duplicated a name
you have
7 years.
All the time.
No, I don't.
Yeah, all the time, dude.
No way I duplicate names.
All the time.
Nah, you're just doing that. There's no way.
Our boy Vern, you duplicate that all the time.
Oh, well, because Vern is one of the few. Yeah, I mean, he's been around since the inception of this thing.
He gets a special case. Okay.
Let's see. Two different Trump-related things this week.
Oh boy, here we go.
One is, it's not really, well, it is related to him, but it's more or less Linda McMahon.
Oh God. Right.
I don't think I've ever felt more sorry for somebody appointed to a position than her. And I say that in saying, obviously, they're starting to dismantle the Department of Education, which is she's the head of, and they're expecting her to go on all these interviews and like answer questions about the Department of Education when there isn't going to be one. Like, what a position to put. And listen, I'm not standing up for her. She knew what she was getting into, but like, just what a shitty position to be in.
To take this out of the political realm, always reminds me kind of the job interview question where they're like, why do you want to work here? Why do you want me to lie to you? Why do you want me to lie to you? Like, what? Are you just seeing how good of a liar that I am?
I don't even know. Once again, I don't know what answer you would give whoever was interviewing her. I'm guessing the president, but he probably didn't interview her.
I know, I wouldn't think so, man.
Anyways,
stuff like, yeah.
Moving on to something else that I thought was.
Itches.
So you know how the White House does an Easter egg roll every year for Easter?
Yeah.
Well, this year Trump is wanting sponsorships with the promise of logo and branding opportunities.
Oh my God.
And the sponsorships prices range between $75,000 and $200,000.
Who's getting the money?
I didn't read far enough down.
Like, who's getting the money for it, right? Okay, this is my thing, right? To make this a little bit political. My thing with what is going on right now, even if you believe that the way that the country is going and the things that are going to be, the things that are being done are the right things to do, I don't think that you can make any kind of a logical, rational argument that that's the way to do it. Like, that's my issue. Okay, All right, you believe that this is the way that things should go, but you can't possibly believe that that's the way to do it, right? Like, you think that we should downsize the government. Okay, all right. Do you think that we should fire the people with the nuclear codes? Oh, no, we probably shouldn't do that. Should we fire the people who are researching a potential another epidemic that is going to come? No, we probably shouldn't do that. So even if you agree with what's being done, I can't have a logical, rational, critical thinking analysis conversation with anybody who thinks that that's the way to do that. And that's the problem. Like, you can't do that thing that way. It's like, I want to lose weight. What's the plan? Starve myself and not eat anything. Or do large amounts of cocaine. Like, it's good that you want to lose weight, but maybe that's not the way to do that. Like, cut off my leg so I lose 60 pounds. That's not the way to do that.
That might actually be one of the best, like, side-by-side analysis that I've heard. So well done.
Oh, yeah. It's like, you can't do it that way. So, there's my rant. I think I messed up our live stream, by the way. How sad. Oh, well.
God dang it. How'd you stop clicking buttons over there?
I don't know what I did. I did something. I didn't do it right. Okay, whatever.
Like, well, let's just restart then.
Oh, no, it's fine. It's still going.
Just kidding.
I got things to do today, man. I got to go to the grocery store, ride my new scooter around.
Okay, you want to talk about your new scooter?
I do want to talk about my new scooter. So I've been eyeballing a stand-up electric scooter for a while. I've been thinking to myself, I'm going to get a stand-up electric scooter. It's going to be badass. And I bought it, and it's badass.
Will you stop saying badass like that?
No, I won't, because it's badass what I'm doing with this scooter. It's incredible.
Was that it? I thought I was expecting more.
You know how quickly I got to the beach and back? I took my son, got him on the scooter, both of us helmets on, got to the beach, which is 2 miles away, got an ice cream cone, got back from the beach, which is 2 miles away, including eating the ice cream cone at the ice cream store. 10 minutes. 10 minutes. I'm like the fucking Flash.
What's the max speed of this wonder bike? I
can check. Do you want me to check? Hold on.
Well, it's not street legal, right?
Oh, no, it is. Well, it's unclear. It's a gray area enough that no one have to worry about it. 36.2 miles an hour. I got it up to 36.2 miles an hour. Which is actually a little bit scary on a electric moped with no suspension when you hit some bumps. It's a little bit scary.
I mean, listen, good on you. Do you want to talk about how you endangered your entire family last night by getting it up to certain miles an hour inside your home?
I may have had some edibles and a drink and tried to see how fast I could get the scooter going in my own house. And I got it up to 7 miles an hour.
Was there like a point when you were trying to get it up to a certain speed where you were thinking to yourself, maybe this isn't a great idea?
No, because like I got it up to 7, but I never really like saw what it was capable of. Like I did it all within the safety parameters that I was comfortable with, so I wasn't worried about it.
Well, there is today.
What?
I think you should try to get to 10 today.
Oh,
and then maybe 15
I'm not though.
tomorrow.
No, I've reached my limit. That's as fast as I can get it to go. It's as fast as I can get it to go.
You should to end the podcast on this episode. You should just get up and just scooter out of your door and just leave the stream up.
It's actually heavy as shit. It's really, really, really heavy.
Well, good for you, man. Good.
A little bit too heavy.
Well, let's go from fun to we didn't have a RIP last episode.
Well, we had George Foreman died.
Yeah, George Foreman died.
That's all you? Okay, all right, yeah.
Yeah, no, that's what I want to talk about, man.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize that's what you were going for.
Yeah, I had a couple of questions regarding George Foreman to you that I thought about when thinking of Big George, and more or less, when you think of George Foreman, do you think of him as a boxer or as a, Foreman grill guy?
I guess I think of him for the Foreman grill first, to be honest with you. Oh yeah, I definitely think of him for the Foreman grill first.
I was reading a statistic, and I don't know if this is an actual statistic or not. Seemed real, but apparently his product of grills have sold over 100 million items since the company came out in the mid 90s.
Oh, that's huge. And that's like what we were talking about, all right? What we were talking about at the beginning of this episode, the idea that your decision could potentially change somebody else's life. I think they reached out to somebody else first for the George Foreman grill. I don't think he was the first celebrity spokesperson that they were looking at. I think it was someone else.
I mean, without actually looking, I'll agree with you, but
Oh, good. Thank
it
you.
was one thing, one little nugget that I didn't know is what it was actually supposed to be called the Fajita Express, but George Foreman, because of who he was, apparently didn't eat a lot of fajitas, but said if you can kind of change it to do burgers, I'll attach my name to it.
Oh man,
So
that was like everybody had a thing for everybody had a George Foreman grill.
well, they were relatively cheap too, by the way. I mean, it's 30-40 bucks back then wasn't a whole lot for something that was going to take all the grease and fat out of your meat and make it healthy for you, which isn't truly accurate.
Ooh, okay. But all right. This is the problem: is that the person who claims to have been approached first is kind of a notorious liar about things like this, right?
Oh, is it the pillow guy? The pillow guy, Mike
No,
something?
no.
Oh,
So George Foreman, Hulk Hogan says that he was initially approached for the George Foreman grill, but Hulk Hogan has turned out to be a notorious liar about things.
And I say this with as much love as possible. I wish that wasn't the case because he was he was a hero to all of us young boys growing up in the 80s and 90s. But yeah, he's turned out not to be a very good person.
Oh yeah, he's like, and some of his lies are ridiculous, like the idea that he wrestled 400 days a year. There's 365 days.
Well,
Don't even
technically-
start. Don't even
Okay.
try it. It's already been analysis to my boy Jim Crockett. Is that what is his name? What is
No,
his name?
Jim
What is-
Cornell.
It's not Jim Cornell. Cornette.
Cornette, yes, sorry. Yeah,
Jim
Jim
Cornette.
Cornette. And I got to tell you, he's about as big of a liar as Hulk
Oh,
Hogan
don't
is.
you besmirch Jim Cornette on this show. It's my boy.
I'll just move on, but
Okay,
that
thank you.
may actually be accurate. I think one little known thing about George Foreman, if you don't know how great of a boxer he truly was, he fought 81 fights and he only lost 5 of them. I mean, that's I mean,
He's good. He's a professional boxer.
I just say that to say I feel like he became a clown in his later life when he was actually a bad man. Like he was he was up there with the Tysons of the world in terms of boxing efficiency and how great he was.
Oh
as a
yeah,
boxer.
because he didn't look like a boxer as much. Like he didn't look like a mean guy. Like Mike
he
Tyson
was-
looked like a guy who's going to eat your heart. You know,
There's another
Ali
there's another
looked like a guy who's going to whip your ass, but George Foreman looked a little bit like he didn't look like a mean guy.
And
Pleasant,
I mean,
you know.
he became. I mean, he did so much. The Foreman Grill. He was a chef. He had restaurants. He was a minister. I mean, just what a life, you know.
He's a busy man. Busy man.
As you said, changing lives inadvertently. He did tons of that.
Okay. All right.
All right. Would you rather go to the bottom of the ocean, explore it, or go into space?
Go into space. I don't want to go to the bottom of the ocean. Bottom of the ocean creeps me out. I don't really even want to go into the water, to be honest with you. I don't like anything where I can't see where my feet are.
Wow.
I could stay.
That was
Yeah.
an exact answer. Like there was no doubting you on that.
No. Because, like, think about this, right? Like, if something goes wrong in either place, you're probably going to be dead. There's really no hope for you. It's going to be a bad death. You're not going to like it. But at least if you're in space, like, you can see everything around you. Like, if you die at the bottom of the ocean, you just die in complete cold darkness.
I mean, either or, you're probably not going to have very many seconds to realize it. So I don't know.
No.
It's, I do think you bring up a great point, though, about not, like rivers and things. I mean, those are murky, most of them. And you have no idea where, even if you're in waist length or waist high water, Like you have no idea what you're stepping in, or what you might be stepping on. It is kind of eerie when you think
I
about
don't
it.
like it. I don't really like to get. I love water, but I don't really like to get into anything where I can't see where my legs are. Like if I can't see what's beneath me, I don't want it anything to do with that. Nope.
So I guess
Nope,
on
nope.
our profoundly pointless cruise, you won't be going in the water. I guess
I
is what
won't be
you're
going
saying.
on the cruise. You'll never get me on a cruise. I will never go on a cruise. I went on a
Aw.
cruise one time and I will never go on a cruise again. That was the worst experience of my life. No, it wasn't. Worst vacation experience.
Wow, do you want to tell us more? Or...
I just hated it. I just hated it. Hated it. Hated it.
Wow. Well, that's all I kind of had for this episode.
All right. So our top 5 is top 5 cats. Not like house cats, but like types of cats. Like lions, tigers. Not bears, but I mean, it's not a cat. Oceloxes.
What? So, can I ask a question before we get going?
Yeah.
What sparked this idea? Just what sparked it?
I don't know. Something. Just like, let's do cats.
I just didn't know if this might have been you on your scooter going crazy, and you're just like, "We're gonna do best cats."
No, dude, when I'm on my scooter, man, I'm not thinking about anything but the wind in my hair and the freedom in my soul. That was great, wasn't it? I have so much fun on that. I
I mean,
love it. Don't make me
you
get my son in here to be like, what do you think of the scooter? And he'll be like, it's badass.
you truly seem happy with your scooter. So
I really enjoy it, man. There's nothing funner in life than just going,
Um,
wee. Like, wee.
I am legitimately happy for you.
Good. You should get you a scooter. Maybe I'll send you one.
All right, my number 5 favorite type of cat. I'm going with the Black Panther.
Ooh, okay. Black Panther didn't make my list, but that would be really up there. It's cool.
I mean, could you imagine? So I tried putting myself in situations with all of my top 5 and how scared as shit I'd be. So here's walking through the jungle and you just stop and you just hear a snarl and you look to the right or the left and there are just these yellow eyes just staring at you. And then you're dead.
You're dead. I don't know specifically if it was a grizzly bear, but I know it was a really big bear that I ran into once when I was out hiking. And I was like, wow, that's awesome. And then I thought to myself, oh shit.
Yeah, dude.
I don't like people who say, I want to see this in the wild. Like, no, you really don't. You really don't.
No, there was that video that surfaced a couple years ago of the guy in the woods and the brown bear's chasing after him, and like the brown bear is fast as hell.
Oh, he's
And
getting away from it.
yeah, like no, man, I'm good. I'll pass.
My number 5 is a snow leopard. I think a snow leopard is just like the coolest thing. Like mysterious. Rarely seen. It sees
I have
you,
that
you
on
don't
my.
see it them.
I have it on my honorable mention. It's a cool cat, cool looking cat. I agree.
Snow
Maybe
leopard's pretty
underrated.
sweet. Yeah. Yeah, the only thing I think that keeps the snow leopard down a little bit is just because it's not as popular.
Yeah.
People aren't as familiar with the snow leopard.
My number 4, and I think this may be the most overrated big cat, but it's the cheetah.
Oh. My number 4 is what I think is the most overrated big cat, which is the lion. I
Okay,
don't like,
what-
okay. Overrated. It's just big. Like, what's it really doing? It doesn't compete with the other big cats. It doesn't have like a cool feature like the other ones do. Just the biggest.
I actually think that lions probably have the coolest feature, which
The
is
mane.
the mane. That's badass.
Yeah. But the lioness is actually more badass than the lion. It's just got a mane.
We're splitting hairs there.
Okay, what's your number 3?
My number 3 is speaking of a lion, is a mountain lion.
That's my number 3 too, is a mountain lion. I've
Well-
seen a mountain lion in real life and thought to myself, I better get the hell out of here.
So I've never seen one, obviously, with where I live, but I mean, I'm guessing they truly can scale the side of a mountain, like it's like just incredible to see.
You know, that's not why they call him a mountain lion, right? Like, it's not like
I have no idea. I have no idea what they're called.
You have no idea, do you? Not a clue in the world.
I have no idea.
It's probably because they're found at like higher elevations, is assuming why they probably called a mountain lion. But I believe, I may be wrong here, but I believe a mountain lion, a cougar, and a puma are all the same thing, just depending on where you are. But mountain lions are crazy. Like, that's an animal you don't want to mess with.
But
that's
are you saying
beast of an animal.
That they're not mountain lions because they don't climb mountains?
No, I'm saying they're not. They're just called different things in different areas. Sometimes they're called a cougar. Sometimes they're called a puma.
Okay. All right. My number 2 is just the standard atypical lion.
Oh, I bet our number 1's gonna be the same then. My number 2 is my number 2 is a cheetah. Fastest land animal on Earth. Like, just cool. Everybody
they are
likes
cool.
A cheetah.
I just feel like I said earlier. I feel like that's all they have to go on is that they're fast.
That's like, all they need.
If you take away their speed, what are they? You know what I mean?
Well, if you take away a lion's size, what is it?
They're just another cat, you know? Just another house cat walking around.
What's your number 1?
So it's a tiger, but it's specifically a white tiger.
Ooh, I didn't go that far. I just went tiger. But I could go Bengal tiger.
Yeah, I have I'm fascinated with white tigers. Their blue eyes, they're like Alaska Malamutes, like the dog to me. Like, I think they're just absolutely beautiful creatures.
Okay. All right.
If anyone wants to gift me one, I'll send you my address.
A white tiger?
Oh, that'd be.
Would you ever have it? Would you ever keep an exotic animal as a pet?
No.
No, I wouldn't either.
But not because I don't want to, but because I know, like, what would happen. I'd say take care of it, and then I wouldn't, or like, you know, it just wouldn't work out.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to take care of it. I'd be like, wow, that's a lot, and that's not really worth it. Like, it's not like the tiger's ever going to like, hey, come watch him sit next to me and let's watch a movie.
Well, and then, you know, we both have little kids. Like, you know, that's an issue. You know, neighbors will be over. It's all a liability thing at that point.
The only thing that I really have in my honorable mention is a bobcat and a lynx. I think a lynx is kind of cool. But other than that, I don't really care about, like, ocelots, jaguars. I don't care about jaguars.
You know, I had one on that's kind of obscure, but it's called a Savannah cat, and basically they're large, like, snow cats that live in snowy regions. Obviously,
I wonder why it's called Savannah. Let me look it up.
But yeah, it's technically, I believe it's considered. Cool. Yeah, I believe it's considered, like the tallest, biggest, like, domestic cat breed, but they're wild. They're just like a really big wild winter cat.
Is the Savannah cat is a type of hybrid cat developed in the late 20th century from crossing a serval with a domestic cat. I don't really know what a serval is. They're very tall, though.
Yeah. But
okay.
Did we say jaguars, by the way? I feel like jaguar needs to get a shout out too.
I don't know what a jaguar is. I know what a jaguar is.
A jaguar.
Try again. Come on, you can do it.
Jaguar.
It's getting worse.
Jaguar.
Like, it's say not, war.
Holy
war.
Shit, it's not jaguar, is it? That's jag and wire.
Say
jaguar.
No, just listen. Let's work through this, okay? Say war.
War.
Jaguar.
Jaguar.
There you go. Jaguar. I don't know if that's actually how to pronounce it, but that's how I pronounce it.
Well, it's not jaguar that I just realized I said, so thank you.
Okay. I think it's best to just stop this.